In this video, we will see how to control the display of linked models and DWGs via the visibility graphic overrides. Let's start by opening the file Linked Model Display. And in this file, we can see we have several linked models. So zooming in a little closer, we can see we have two linked Revit models, one for each block. And we also have a DWG file linked in, which is giving us a 2D layout of the road and external works of our site. Looking at the Manage ribbon tab, we have the option under Manage Project to manage links. And in here we can see we have the Revit tab and the CAD Formats tab, and our linked DWG and Revit models are available to control from within here. If I select one of our Revit models, we can see we have the option to unload the Revit model. However, this will unload it from the entire project, and it will not be visible in any of the views within the project. So rather than unload it from the entire project, it's likely that we want to control it in individual views. So I'll choose Cancel to go back to the view. Looking at this 3D view in particular, the DWG file tends to make it a little bit confusing, as the lines are drawn in 2D and it's placed at a certain level, which is the site datum level. Whereas our 3D model changes in height as it goes along the road and across the terrain, and therefore the 2D DWG gets a little confused with the 3D model. So for this 3D view, it would be better if we turned off the DWG. So to do this, from the Properties palette, we'll choose to edit the Visibility Graphic Overrides. And looking at the tabs across the top, we have one for Imported Categories. And in here we can see we have our DWG file, the Home Studio Site Plan file. I can expand this out and we can see all of the individual layers within the DWG file. However, rather than turn off individual layers, we can uncheck the DWG itself, which now when we say OK, means the DWG has been switched off in this view. However, if I go to the Site Plan view, the DWG is still visible within that view. Within this view, I'd like to turn parts of the DWG off, and really the only part that I want to leave would be the center line of the road. So once again, we'll go and edit the Visibility Graphic Overrides. And from the Imported Categories, we can see our DWG file again. We'll expand this out, and I'll select all of the layers, and then deselect the road centerline layer. And now we can switch those other layers off. And when I choose Apply, you can see that we're left with just the road centerline in the view, and all of the other layers inside the DWG have been switched off. Rather than have it display in red, we'll choose the road centerline layer, and now I'll choose the Override Lines option, and I'll change the color to be black. We'll choose OK and then apply this to the view. And we can see now that we have our DWG still visible in the view, but with most of the layers switched off, and we've overridden the road centerline layer. Zooming in a little closer, we can see we have the linked Revit models. And due to the view range of the site plan, we're actually looking down on the roof of those models, and it would be preferable if we could see inside the models and see the first floor layout. So to do this, we'll once again go to the Visibility Graphic Overrides. And looking at the tabs across the top, we have a tab for Revit Links. We can see our two models, and currently they're set to display by the host view. And this means that if I go back to the model categories, and for example turn off the roofs, so when I apply that to the view, the roofs in the linked model will also be switched off, and hence the linked models are displaying according to the host view settings. I'll switch these back on, and now we'll go to the Revit links. So rather than display the model by the host view settings, we can choose this, and we can change this to either display via a linked view, and this now looks inside the linked model and gives me the list of available views. So for example, I could choose the second floor plan and apply this, and now we can see the view that's created inside the linked model of the second floor. And equally, I could come and choose the first floor plan and apply this too. And I can choose from whichever first floor plans that suit my need. So I'll select the structural plan and apply. We can see that we have dimensions and annotation that have been created inside the linked model that are now visible in this view because we've told it to use that specific view from the linked model. We'll choose OK to this, and now we'll go to the Studio model, and I'll select to edit its display settings. And we'll change this model to display by custom settings. And this gives us access into all of the view settings from within the linked model. So I could come back and choose a linked view once more and choose the first floor view. And now I can set the view range to be set via the linked first floor view, which now when I apply will give me a cut through at that first floor view. Now I can go to the model categories and we can set these to be custom, and this means that we can now come down the list of model categories within our linked model and decide which ones we can see and how they are displayed. So for example, I can enable the furniture so that we can see that within the linked model, and equally I could choose to override the way the furniture is shown. So I'll choose to override the surface patterns here, and we can change these to be a solid fill in an orange colour, which when we apply we can see that updated to just the linked model here. So this shows that we have complete control over each linked model individually. We'll choose OK and then OK once more. Now looking in our site plan, we can see that each of our linked models is displayed separately and controlled via their own settings rather than the global settings within the view. And this has only been applied in this particular view, as if I go to the site level datum view, then that's displayed with its original settings. So that ends this video, and to recap, in this video we've seen how to control the display of linked models and DWGs via the visibility graphic overrides.